So the next topic we're going to get in here today, I'm also pretty excited to talk with you about because shockingly, I have not heard your take on this at all. So we're coming in fresh here, and it's something that is not divisive whatsoever, and that is the Disney era of Star Wars. And in particular, we're going to kick it off with the Rise of Skywalker. So, what? Before I tell you what I thought of it, go ahead and let me hear your quick review of the Rise of Skywalker by Rick Metz.
I'll give you the TLDR. So basically, wasn't a fan of The Last Jedi. Force Awakens was good. I mean, both movies were entertaining in their own rights. But me, Rise of Skywalker, I didn't leave the theater. When I left The Last Jedi, I walked out kind of disappointed. I'm not going to lie. And that's crazy because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. And to walk out of a Star Wars movie but I saw Rise of Skywalker and
Actually, we'll go back real quick. What uh, what is it that you didn't like about Last Jedi? Let's get into that.
it was just the way it was thrown together, like the use of characters. There's just so many little. I could nitpick it for days, and I mean, at the end of the day, I watched it like a week ago. It's still entertaining, but it just wasn't to me. Like The Force Awakens, I thought blew it out of the water.
Oh yeah,
But
much better movie.
but with Rise of Skywalker, I thought it was interesting how they brought the Emperor back. I mean, kind of strange because it's like, he did fall down like a huge shaft.
Mhm.
But the way that they explained it, and apparently he can transfer his consciousness into like clones and things like that.
Canny,
Uh, What
canny.
that's what I've been told. Um, but no, I thought it was interesting. I thought, it's gonna sound really cheesy and lame, but I thought like the redemption of Ben Solo was pretty cool. I liked how they finally included the Knights of Ren for more than like 10 seconds, even though
Yeah,
they still didn't have a huge role.
yeah, they didn't do anything.
Yeah, they had a
That
cool
was
ship.
yeah. Is that all it takes? Is that it?
No, and Kylo Ren kind of whoops their ass Ben Solo kind of whoops their ass at the end of the movie. And
Here's the thing here's one thing I'm gonna throw you just on the nice rim real quick before I forget about this. So like they don't do anything in that movie at all. They just follow people.
yeah,
So they're glorified PIs.
bodyguards.
Yeah, that's it. They just follow people. And then when they finally go into that scene where you're saying at the end, the third act, where Ben Solo kind of wipes the floor with them, like it doesn't make any sense because they're called the Knights of Ren, right?
Yeah. I know the whole
Oh,
backstory about
but
Ren.
yeah, but so if is when Ben Solo shows up, they attack him. He was Kylo Ren, the leader of the Knights of Ren. So they were actually not the Knights of Ren, or the Knights of Ren were actually working for the Emperor the whole time.
Yeah,
Like,
they didn't really explain that
no, they
too
did
well.
not, and that's one of the many things that that movie
I
doesn't
think
really
more or
explain.
less, I like their costumes. I know that sounds super
Well, sure, they look
but
cool.
they look super cool.
They look cool since we first got the glimpse of them in the flashback of the Force Awakens. Yeah, they looked
I
cool,
like the idea of the
but
Knights of Ren.
yeah, the idea is fine. Like the idea of them is good. The execution I thought was like okay.
Yeah.
I mean, mainly just because they didn't do anything. But then, like I said, like if they're supposed to be Kylo Ren's subordinates, essentially, why were they actually the Emperor's subordinates? Because as soon as he shows up, they go to take Kylo out.
There's so many little
Like,
things like that that I ask questions about too, like the entire like Sith fleet. They go from literally the first order to like the final order within like a matter of seconds, and it's like you're telling me all these people got new uniforms, new ships,
oh
all
no,
this
that's the
stuff.
thing too. They weren't even implied that it was the First Order. Then in the movie and everything, they make it out to be that the Sith Empire under Palpatine was completely separate.
Which doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. You can't have that big. And what were
Yeah.
they doing?
Um,
They were all just floating outside of the
Exegol.
Exegol. They're just
Yeah.
floating there, not doing anything.
Well, I think they were getting ready for like galactic conquest, but you know, eh,
Were they though?
the visuals were cool. The storytelling, not so much.
Well, no.
IMHO.
Right. My thing with that movie was I feel like it was them trying to please the fans because of the
Oh yeah.
divisiveness of The Last Jedi, and I think that's what really I don't want to say ruined the movie, but it ruined it for me. The movie's fine.
It's like they tried to
Like,
make up for The Last Jedi.
they did, because even JJ came out, for instance, for the during the years of The Force Awakens and then post that and, like, The Last Jedi and everything, they had no plans, and he was very firm on the fact that Rey's parents were, in fact, nobody. Like,
And then
'cause
they just
there
switched that
were,
around.
yeah, he literally went on record, there were articles written where he said there's just something, I'm paraphrasing here, but there's something unique and powerful about someone coming from nothing and being important and being powerful in the way that Rey is.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be family ties that make her
And
who
then
she
Rise of
is.
Skywalker, they just kinda throw that out the window, like,
Yeah, and it's just like, but JJ, you went on record yourself and said that that wasn't the case. And then
true.
Ryan Johnson in The Last Jedi actually he followed through with her being nobody.
Yeah,
Like,
literally, Kylo Ren tells her
yeah,
that, like,
he said
uh,
your parents are garbage or whatever. Just threw her
garbage yeah,
away.
they were, like, drunks or something.
Yeah, and so it's like Ryan Johnson actually followed through with that. So, and he just comes in and just because nobody, it just seemed like an odd thing to do to try to fix
Did
things.
JJ just change his mind, like, last minute, or
That's what it seems like. That's kind of what I think ruined the movie to some degree, was just because it was like a rushed thing. Because did you see the the Colin Trevorrow script that came out of what his version of
yeah, that was totally different.
completely different,
You
and
know
they
the oh, go ahead.
yeah, well, I was just gonna say they weren't apparently there was some sort of like, prior to all three of the films being done, after JJ did the first film, there was apparently some talk, like, they didn't coordinate everything like Marvel does with Kevin Feige to where, like, this is where it's going, which was the biggest problem with the franchise, in my opinion. Like, they
Yeah.
had no clear plan, and none of the writers and directors worked together to actually form what the story was. It was a really bad idea to say, "Okay, JJ, you set it up," and then or correction. It wasn't a bad idea for them to do it this way. It didn't work out because they decided to be reactionary about what happened with the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Had they just allowed the Colin Trevorrow to come in and actually do his script, for instance, or if they ran with that script and took him out of
Well,
directing,
Ben Solo wasn't redeemed in that script, was he?
no, I don't think so.
Good.
No, and but my point with that was, I'm sorry, was the fact that there was some form of communication between those writers and directors initially. Like, there wasn't 100% collaboration, but like they all knew kind of where everything was going to go. It was very minor collaboration. That being said, because Last Jedi was so divisive, they threw that out the window and they completely
Yeah.
made this whole new. I mean, it's clear as day because Colin Trevorrow got taken off the film, his script got thrown away, and they just they brought JJ back, the only one who made a successful, well, a well-received Star Wars movie at this point in
Yeah.
time, and they brought him back to make a whole new one to just kinda wrap everything up and make it, put a bow on it and just, like, shove it away and let's you
Exactly.
do
It's just
whatever.
well, and there was just too many little things in the movie, I thought, where it's just like you are just trying to please the fan. Like
100%. Like, it was cool to see Lando back.
it
Like,
was, the one character I liked, I think, more than anybody in the entire movie was Babu Frick.
yeah, everybody liked Babu Frick.
Yeah, how could you not? Like
I'm surprised he didn't get more screen time because, he was, like, really he ended up being very well received, but maybe that's why he was so well received because there was so little of him, yeah.
he was funny.
Right.
I liked
He
him.
was good. He was good. Um, and then, my main gripe with that, though, is the fact that, with Rise of Skywalker, other than it just, like, being rushed and everything, um, and I actually made a whole, like, 20-minute video about this, on the channel. You can go watch it if you want. But it was just the fact that they did not explain why and how Palpatine was back,
They
like,
didn't.
in the movie at all, and then there were later the visual dictionary was released and said that, uh, like, they used, magic and the occult to bring him
Yeah, the
and
Sith
science,
occult. Yeah.
yeah, to bring him back to life, and but then, the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker came out and said a completely different thing. So there's it completely contradicted what
Make up
uh
your
yeah, and
minds.
it's like Okay, dude, like, you obviously had no idea. They didn't even think this stuff through.
No,
Like,
no,
it just they just rushed it all in. They didn't even fit anything into the movie to explain it, and then they contradicted, like, how and why he came back in 2 different forms of canon. So there's, like, multiple versions of canon
yeah.
that are saying it was completely different things, and it
Well,
just
they've got like
that's what
what Star Wars canon. They've got Star Wars like Legends or something like that. That is like the off canon stuff. But
well, Legends is now everything that came out prior to Disney's acquisition of, Lucasfilm.
okay.
Everything is because back in the day, they used to have, like, multiple tiers of canon, and, like, the only canon that mattered was G canon, which was from George, and so they
Yeah,
called it G canon. So, like, then they had, like, A canon, B canon, C canon,
there were so
like
many books and
yeah,
extended
and
universe kind of
it was
things.
too
And
much to
yeah,
even keep, and that's why, like, that was a good call on Disney to say all that stuff is Legends now. Like, there's not different tiers of canon anymore. It's just that's Legends material, and but this was the problem was that they said everything going forward, post acquisition, was going to be canon. All the books were going to be canon.
yeah.
All the video games are going to be canon. Everything. But then now they're contradicting their own
Of course, they're
canon.
contradicting it.
Like it's just I don't know. That's what bothers me most about it. And then, like, the redemption of Ben Solo, I thought was fine. It could have been better. Obviously, it probably could have been more emotional if Leia could have been more involved, but obviously
Yeah,
Carrie Fisher's passing made that
made it a
impossible.
little
But they did a
difficult.
good job with what they had with that. I
It did.
thought they did okay.
Yeah,
It was okay.
I would say
Yeah,
so.
it was fun. I don't know. You got anything else to add about Rise of Skywalker?
Uh, the only other thing I'll say is I thought it was really corny at the end of the movie when he sucks Palpatine sucks the life forces out of the dyad of Rey and Ben
Oh
Solo,
my
whatever
god,
it
don't
is.
get it's a dyad thing too. That's another thing they didn't explain. Like,
Yeah, it's like what the heck is a dyad? Like
yeah, you have to read dictionaries and shit.
to understand
You
like
know?
what that
Yeah,
terminology
it's
even
like if you
means.
can't explain this stuff in a movie, then you're doing it wrong,
I
dude.
do have two more things to add though.
No, let's get into it.
One, I thought it was really cheesy when they did the whole lightning to the sky thing to take out the fleet.
Dude,
That
that
was
made no sense.
it did make sense. And the other thing is Palpatine continually basically begged Rey throughout the movie to kill him so they could the circle is complete. Like you'll become the next Sith person or whatever. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do it. She killed him.
Right.
She killed him. Like, I
She
mean, is
yeah,
that not what he wanted? Maybe
that
because
is
they used
true.
force lightning, it didn't count. I don't know, but like that opens up a whole new can of worms. Like, it's just didn't make sense to me.
Well, what did it have to do with the dyad though? Was that the whole like thing that threw it off?
Yeah, I don't
Like the fact that dude, I don't even care. That's
know.
the
That's yeah, right.
that's the
It's just
biggest
like
problem.
it
It's
was
like, you know what?
entertaining. I
I don't
mean,
care.
I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the thing, like, what we're like, you brought up good points because, the force lightning into the sky to take out the ships, right? Okay. The dude, like, they tell you that the dude is too weak to, like, leave Exegol.
Yeah,
And he needs Ray like, he's too weak, so he needs Ray to fucking do the thing, kill him so she can just take the throne, right?
yeah,
No, no, dude, it was the dyad thing because remember after something happened, he was able to, like, absorb their life force instead or whatever.
yeah.
So now he's walking around and like, "Oh, the force." But
With
anyway,
his yellow eyes and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, but, it's just stupid. But the dude, like, how can you have that much power? If 2 seconds ago like, I'm sorry, but Kylo Ren nor Rey ever displayed that much power to where absorbing their life force to any capacity would
He
give
takes
him
out an
enough
entire
power.
fleet of
Yeah,
ships.
there's
Like it
no
doesn't.
way,
Yeah.
dude. There's no way. It
He's
makes
pretty
no
creepy
sense.
looking though.
Yeah, it was look cool. I mean, all the stage design and everything looked great.
Yeah. Thought it
And the only other thing, this is kind of a nitpick though. It's like, how'd Palpatine lose again?
how'd he lose?
Yeah, how'd he lose?
He had the lightning shot back at him and he exploded.
Don't this dude learn?
Right? It's like I mean, it's like every time
Didn't
he
this
whips
already
out the force lightning, something bad happens.
didn't he know to stop? Like, didn't he
But at
do
the
this
same time,
already?
maybe he got the last laugh because at the end of the day, Ray killed him. I don't.
but that didn't seem no, but he didn't get the last laugh. Maybe he got the last laugh in Revenge of the Sith when he got beat by his own Force lightning,
Yeah.
and but because in the end of this, Rey goes off and she's taking up the name of Skywalker now. She's not.
Ray Skywalker.
Oh, and that's another thing too. Like they made this whole point of like it doesn't matter where you come from, it's like like just because you're a Palpatine doesn't change who you are. They kind of try to make that thread go through.
Yeah.
Then why does she like take the name Skywalker? Why wouldn't she just stick with the Palpatine name?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it makes no sense. Like
yeah.
it goes against that thread, that beat. If like,
Luke and Leia were cool with it apparently, so
yeah, but another thing too, they didn't show like again nitpicking, but they don't really depict them having any sort of like cool relationship.
yeah.
Like, like in Last Jedi, Luke wanted nothing to do with like anybody, and then I mean, unfortunately maybe they could have done more scenes with Leia and her, but they didn't, and they didn't do anything like building up to this to suggest that like
Yeah. I
they would be kind of cool with that. I don't know.
I liked Leia's lightsaber too. I thought that was pretty cool. Had a cool design.
Yeah, I mean it was fine,
Was what it was.
but uh, man, what do you think about? This is kind of off topic. Did you see about the the High Republic stuff that they're doing in the books now?
Yeah, yeah, that looks pretty cool.
What do you think about that? Like 300, 400 years before
It'll be
New Hope?
interesting to see how it's portrayed. Is it you said it's just books?
Yeah, and that's the thing. This kind of goes back to just I might add, if I may. As I said prior, they didn't put any sort of like plan in place or thoughts or anything into like into the movies, right? They
Yeah.
just said JJ wrote this and then whatever, right? They didn't plan this out, right? They took, and I went over this in the video on the channel. They took all of the big writers who have written like Claudia Gray, like I can't remember any of their other names off the top of my head, but all of the big writers for all the Star Wars novels, Chuck Wendig, I think, maybe one of them, whatever. But they all went down there to like a resort, like took them all down, flew them down, and they planned out this whole High Republic era of stuff. Or they took all the writers for the Star Wars novels down to this room, this resort or whatever. They put them in
Fancy.
there for months. I forget how long it was, but
Just
like,
locked them in
yeah, they
there.
locked him in there and said, "Make some good shit." But like, but no, they really did to some capacity. But so they do all that, and these are just for books. Like they didn't put this much love and effort and
I thought it
care.
was going to be a set of movies.
No,
Oh, that's
it's literally a set of novels,
Ooh.
which is fine. Here's the thing: it's fine. It's more than likely just going to be starting out as a set of novels, and I think this is what they should, if in my opinion. And I'm no studio head or anybody successful in that field in any way, but as a fan who knows absolutely nothing about this, honest and uneducated, right? Like,
There it is.
yeah, there it is. Um, they should have like done this same process with the movie, like with the sequel trilogy. Not necessarily like lock everybody in a room, but like what I feel like they're doing is they saw the divisiveness of whatever. Or maybe if you take that aside, they just wanted to make this book thing, whatever. I feel like if the series of the High Republic is successful, they'll obviously make movies or TV
Oh,
shows
yeah.
about it going forward. And I feel like it was a really if this is what they did, it's a really smart move on them to say, let's put a lot of love and care into building up this whole time period of the High Republic.
Yeah.
Let's get all our best writers on it. Let's all get them in there and see what they come out with. Release a set of novels and then test the waters with see how the fans react to these stories, these characters, and whatever. And then if it works, great. Then we can move forward with doing some live action stuff. Maybe do another animated series based on the thing first.
Yeah,
See if
Clone
people
Wars and
like that.
Rebels were super popular.
Yeah, and like it's just kind of shocking that they put all this love and care into just a book series, but they didn't put. I mean, yeah, obviously they put. I'm not saying they didn't care about the movies; they obviously did. But when it comes to like a passion behind it, like and like really like just love and care did not seem to go into the movies in this capacity at all. I mean, I think what the evidence kind of is very relevant when you look at just the the fan reactions of everything just like going like that. You know,
Yeah.
it's not.
It was
uh,
very like up and down.
Yeah, I mean, it's because some people like this Rise of Skywalker, and then they just absolutely hate the Last
I
Jedi,
looked
and
at it. I didn't really like Rise of Skywalker. I just found it entertaining. I like Star Wars. It's an entertaining Star Wars movie, whatever, you know. And so to me, I didn't leave disappointed by any means. I mean, yeah, there's definitely different ways I would have done things, but it was all right.
I did. I was pretty disappointed with.
Just
I was more disappointed with Rise of Skywalker than I was with Last Jedi.
really.
Yeah, there were some things I didn't like about Last Jedi, but mainly because, like I said, it just was a huge deviation of everything that they set up with both Force Awakens and Last Jedi. It made no sense.
Yeah.
They essentially threw those 2 movies out the window and made this random movie and didn't explain anything in it. They just threw it all together. I mean, yes, it's way better than any movie I could ever make. Like
No.
there's
Yeah.
no denying that. But just from a fan's perspective, it was just really anybody who just watches those 3 movies, you can clearly tell it's a huge deviation from what they were going with. And that's kind of the I don't know, that was my biggest problem.
Yeah. For sure.